Hello everyone. I was building Containerlab topology with a couple of Cisco IOS. Actually, it was for another topology, but yeah, I wanted to make a demonstration here because I discovered an interesting things about how sometimes, or I don't know if this is happening to hold the Cisco IOL deployment for anyone, or maybe it's depending on my entry point because I modified a little bit the entry point when the Docker container is built up. So basically what is happening here, I have a couple of devices with, as the host name say, with one with loopback and one without the loopback. And what I noticed is that when I go to the lab and essentially I deploy the topology, let's wait for a couple of seconds to deploy. Here the configuration is specular, but the one with the loopback of course have loopback, and the one without doesn't have a loopback. So if we go to the logs of the devices, we can see that the pre-config has been pushed. So also the DSHP has been applied, as we see over here, both for IPv4 and IPv6. And what we notice is that instead, when you don't have an actual virtual interface, even into the deployment, there might be causing a differentiation on how the Docker or the images is configuring or performing its boot up. So essentially, when you don't have any virtual interface, as we don't have any here, you will see that the system doesn't apply the whole config, the pre-config, and it doesn't hand to have an IP address, and it doesn't have anything because it falls to the system configuration dialog, which is impossible to manage over SSH. You could do, if we go to the terminal, for example, if we go here, we do docker ps, we actually looking for without hello container ID, we copy its name, and we do the docker, should be, no, it didn't copy the whole, copy attach, or it's the opposite, yeah. You can still actually enter the CLI of the device. It will still go ahead, and we see after we entered the no, this is another one. If we go back on the terminal to the logs, it's now completing its boot up. This is the actual one with the loopback interface applied that is already available, so we can actually SSH over it. Apparently also the configuration here has been applied. Not hold, should be. It doesn't have any IP addresses assigned, so we cannot do SSH on the actual without loopback interface device. So having or not having the virtual interface modify the behavior during the boot up of devices. So we can stop here, we can destroy the lab, and trying to look for and trying to see what happens if I modify the initial configuration, the pre-config that is applied to the device. Actually, I should have done the cleanup destroy, but let's see, maybe it should work as well. Let's apply a different IP address. We want maybe 254. Let's save the file. Let's see what's happening if we don't deploy with the cleanup. Let's close all the terminals here. We are having a log. Let's destroy again. Did I miss something here in the... No? Okay, that's fine. Let's deploy again. Okay, now it took the deployment correctly. Deployed completed successfully. And if we go looking into the without hello that now have a loopback, yeah, the configuration is applied as well. Let's wait a couple of seconds. This is to avoid essentially the Docker attach, because we want to replicate a real scenario where you are able to SSH over the device, at least in management LAN, and you don't want to fake it on the Docker level, having the SSH simulated by the Docker attach. So it's just a way to alternatively having SSH enabled. So with loopback is working again, and now also the one that previously didn't have loopback is working as well. And we can see here, yeah, loopback is applied, and whole seems to be working. And that's it. I also made an article or a blog post about that, so you can go ahead on my website. I will leave the link in the description. There are also a couple of other insights on other projects. Thank you for watching.